Yo, people, you're very welcome to Grizzcon TV on your daily Grizz roundup show. We always have things to talk about. That's the beauty of a roundup show in kind of mid-season, pre-season, should we say, mid-season, pre-season. There's always things to talk about, and it doesn't always have to be Liverpool. I know everyone thinks the world centers around Liverpool, but I'm here to tell you guys it doesn't. There's other clubs. There's other managers, there's other coaches, there's other transfer rumors. And today I've got my personal good mate, Dan, with me. Dan, what's happening, mate? So happy to have you on with me.
Man, it's always a pleasure, man. First of all, congratulations, because your channel is going bang. The subscribers are going up, bro. You're doing well, and it's great to see, man. And it's always a pleasure to come on and share a platform with you, mate.
Do you know what? First, thank you very much for that. And you know what? Not even my wildest dreams I thought we're going to build up a nice little community like I am. Do you know why? Because I've never concentrated on my own thing. I always like sort of worked with others. You know what I mean? Try to
Similar
build.
to me, bro.
Yeah, exactly. We worked together. I remember about a year and a half ago. I might have been in COVID for 90 minutes. Do you remember we done a couple of shows? I don't know how long ago that was. Probably
2 years.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. And I've always remained in touch because, you know me, I like talking football, but I like talking football with fellow football people because sometimes it can get messy. And then it starts becoming a shouting match, a bantering match, a slanging match. But with the people that I like to bring on, everyone knows they're kosher, they're proper football men. And you are one of the real ones out there. So it's absolute pleasure having you on.
Cheers,
People, Dan, I'm really bad at this. I haven't put your link in the description, but I will. You know me, I don't know none of this crap, right? How to do all this.
It's
but
cool, man. It's calm.
My good friend Omar is back in the country. I don't know if he's watching. Ohms, when you're back, get in the YouTube studio thing and put Dan's channel description, channel's link in the description so people can go and check him out as well. Make sure you go and subscribe to what's it called? Give it a shout
out. Mate, thank you for the plug and thank you for the kind words, bro. So I've started my own channel now. I was always the bridesmaid, never the bride, a bit like Grizz. So I thought to myself, do you know what? Let's get my own thing started and let's do something. Premier League, I talk about Arsenal enough. So it's football's 12th man. Football's 12th Man podcast on YouTube. I'd love a subscribe. I'm on my way to 2K. Only the first few videos literally started 2 weeks ago, so I'm very humbled to have that. So I'm much. I listen. I get Grizz on, and I get talk Liverpool, and I talk all clubs. So it's not just Arsenal. So please do come over, man. It'd be amazing. Thanks for that, Grizz.
No problem, my friend, at all. And I'm going to make sure I get it in the description afterwards as well. But people, there's over nearly 150 of you in here already. You lot are mad. I love you all. Give this stream a like. Hope you've all had a great day. How's your day been, Dan?
Very well, mate. I can't lie. I've got loads of stuff done at work and the sun's been shining, but then I just jumped on a stream with Lee Judges on Lee Judges TV and we have been ranting about the lack of activity and the meltdowns and the 5 days in seeing everybody else do stuff apart from us. And we're a little bit impatient, mate. People say be patient, be patient. I've been patient for 18 years, bro. So I need to be seeing something happening when we're failing every season. But there's still a long way to go, mate. So I'm not completely losing my head, but it's just very frustrating. So apart from Arsenal, mate, I've had a good day, bro.
Yeah, look, I've had a relaxing day, and then suddenly, I decided to do the lawn. Like, do I look like the kind of guy that does the lawn? What does a guy look like who does the lawn anyway? It's a stupid question, but basically, I decided to do the lawn, and Dan, it hadn't been done like forever, right? And it was fucking hard. It looks easy. Do you know when you see others doing it? Why does it always look so easy? I don't know if you've done it. Have you done it before?
Looks effortless, have you done it, bro?
Have you done the lawn before? You have.
Looks effortless. Yeah, man. Looks effortless, doesn't it? Looks effortless.
When I see other people doing it, it's just straight walking up and down, and it looks like a doddle. But I was like over the edges and all sorts, man. I was fucking sweating backwards. Had a quick shower, and I thought, yeah, let's get on the YouTube and chat a bit of football. Look, it says in your name, Dan Arsenal, right? So I've got to speak about your club. I know. But look, going on the back of last season, right? We won't go too much into last season. Your objective. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions, and I don't want context. I know that sounds rude, but I want to move it
No,
on.
I'm cool. I'm cool.
No, trust me, there's a reason for it. What was your objective going into last season at the start of the season?
My objective was to qualify for Champions League because we were out of Europe. We had one game a week, so therefore that was my objective, was to qualify for, and it had to be top four.
At the start of last season,
Yeah,
you really thought you had a chance to get into top
yeah.
four.
After spending 150 million or a quarter of a billion, it would have been now one game a week. I thought we'd had a chance because I didn't fancy some of the other teams. I didn't. I thought Manchester United and Tottenham were nowhere near, and that kind of nearly proved to be correct. So that was my kind of.
In that case, you failed. Your club failed. Your manager
Yeah.
failed. Your team failed because you finished fifth. Fast forward it 12 months or whatever, you know what I mean, calendar season. We're about to get into about to get into pre-season. We are in transfer window open time. You spent 100 and whatever last season. At the start of this window, in your opinion, what did Arsenal need to target the bare minimum? And I'm talking position, and I'm talking types of player that you had in mind that you could realistically target. So I know that's a bit of a hard question, long question.
No, it's not. It's all good, man, because I think it's clear for a lot of people. You don't have to be an Arsenal fan to know what we need, in my opinion, anyway. I wouldn't have thought there'd be too many neutral fans sitting there scratching their head thinking, what do Arsenal need right now? This is the only time I've ever seen Arsenal go into a season without a centre-forward at the club. So that's a major bit of surgery that's needed. We don't need one striker. We need to sort this Eddie and Nketiah bullshit out, and then we need to understand what it is that we need up top. And that, for me, is two centre-forwards. We also need major surgery in the centre of midfield, mate, because with Granit Xhaka and El Neni still there, 6 years on, we haven't kicked a Champions League football since those two have been in our midfield. So whether you like them, love them, or hate them, they're not good enough to take us to the level that we want to be. So we need upgrades in the midfield. We've also found out that because Kieran Tierney and Tomiyasu, as great as they are made of glass, we're going to need fullbacks that are going to come into that position that are going to be upgrades on the backup that we've got. So I'm talking at least 6 to 8 players needed. Wow. And that is major surgery. Major surgery. Because if that doesn't happen, Grizz, we're going to see what we've seen much or the same to what we've just seen, which is not quite good enough to get Champions League football. So our objectives going into this season is, if you don't get us Champions League football, then I can't have 4 years of you as a manager and not get to top 4. So to do that, we need those positions filled. So that for me would be positions. I'll give you names later on, but for me, they're the sort of positions I believe Arsenal are struggling in moving forward to next season. Oh, I think you're on mute, bro. Or is that me on mute?
No, that's me.
Oh,
sorry.
Cool.
I think that's a fair assessment. Because it's your club, and you know better. You've been supporting it all your life. You know what your club needs, as opposed to outsiders talking in, looking in like me. And for me, as an outsider, I would say 100% you need a striker. What type of striker, though? I'm not sure. What type of striker? Because we've just invested. So Man City and Liverpool, who you'd think are probably two of the best footballing sides, or probably are the two best footballing sides in Europe, have just invested heavily in two big lumps. Now, what I mean by lumps is not mobility-wise, but fucking physical specimens, both 6 foot plus, mobile, quick, fast. It goes away from the trend, or it goes away from this notion and idea people have got that it's all about the small, short, fast, nimble, false nine types that you've had in the past, we've had in the past, and City have had in the past. What route do you guys want to take as your striker, and what kind of names have you been? Hit us with some names that you've been linked with. So first and foremost, explain the Eddie Nketiah situation. Has he signed a new deal, right?
Not yet. But it looks like he's going to. Looks like he's going to, and it looks like he's going to get, wait for it, £100,000 a week. That's what I'm being told. It's a crazy situation for a player that couldn't quite make it at Leeds, couldn't quite make it in the league, and then because everybody else was just either rubbish, injured, or had been sold, he gets his chance and he scored a couple of goals towards the end of the season, and for whatever reason, that warrants him a new contract. I don't know why, but it seems that way. Now, I'm cool if you want to keep Eddie Nketiah. Excuse me. But I don't want him as my number 9, number 1 striker. He needs to be at least third, maybe even fourth choice striker, in my opinion. That's not his level to be at Arsenal every single week. So for me, putting him on that contract is dumb. But it looks like it's going to happen. Now, what do I need as a profile of centre forward? I wanted Vlahovic. That was never going to happen. I wanted Darwin Nunez. As soon as we didn't get Champions League, that was never going to happen. And to be fair, even if we did get Champions League, he's going to come to Liverpool over Arsenal, right? So that was never going to happen. So who do I look at now? We're not being linked with anybody at the moment other than Gabriel Jesus. Now, I like him. I think he's a workhorse. I think he gives 110%. And I like the fact that he can play in a few positions. But actually, when you look at what we need as a profile, he's not going to be enough either. We need him with somebody else. I like my profile of striker to be having attributes of somebody that the likes of Tammy Abraham. So when we were linked with Tammy Abraham, a lot of people laughed. They said, oh, he won't be good enough. I thought, you know what? He's learnt his trade over in Aston Villa and banged in some goals. He looked good at Chelsea, in my opinion, in the Premier League and was keeping quite a few players out of the first team when Lampard was there in particular and was scoring goals. And then when he was sold to Roma, everybody said, oh, that's okay because Arsenal didn't need him. Well, actually, Arsenal did need him because in Europe, he's the top English striker. And I know it's a different league to the Premier League before everyone starts coming at me. But actually, when you look at what he's done over in Roma, I think he's everything that we need. I think he's criminally underrated. I think he's got a profile and all the attributes to be brilliant in this league. He's proven to score goals in this league. He's tall, he's quick, he's powerful, he has pace, he has power. He can get into the stage, into those positions. He can link up play. He's a target man. He can use his head and his chest and both of his feet. I don't really know what else he can't really do. And the potential for me is quite high because he's a youngster. So when I look at that, that excites me more than it would somebody like Gabriel Jesus, for example. Problem is it's going to cost you a lot of money. Osimhen is the other guy we're linked with from Napoli who's banging them in and has been for the last season. But I can't see that happening.
Stop with that. That's one of those.
That's a no-go.
Right. That's one of those ones that you're talking. I'm so sorry to butt in, but that's one of those.
No, you do it.
I love debating and chatting with you, but that's one of those. You've named some. I love your shout about Tammy Abraham. I didn't even think about that, Dan. And you know what? As a profile for your club, not only in terms of the profile of player, but where he's at with his career as well, right? Because he's been turfed out from Chelsea, or whatever you want to call it, turfed out, or thought he'd try his trades elsewhere. Done a bit of a Mohamed Salah, went to Roma, smashing it up. Imagine how hungry he'd be come back to sell Chelsea and all the other Premier League teams, Arsenal, London club, rivalry. That's a mad shout. I don't think it would cost you much more than it would cost you Gabriel Jesus. Now, I don't know. I like Gabriel Jesus. I'm not going to lie. I personally think you're going to end up with Gabriel Jesus. That's just my personal hunch. Someone I know says it's very nailed on. He was at your club about a week and a half ago. And so I think someone I know at Man City, through Big Steve, shout out Big Steve, says that deal is very likely to happen. Now, but Tammy Abraham, the way you've spoke about the profile of player that you're looking for, and the attributes that you see in him, it makes sense, Dan, listening to you, it makes sense. But what kind of fee is your club? So look, I know you said 6-7 players. What kind of money is Arteta going to have to work with, do you think? Especially on the basis of last season, and then in terms of what can he sell to raise those funds, and what can your owners add onto the sales money? What kind of figure are we looking at that you've got a ballpark figure to work with?
So last summer it was 150 million, and we were told in January that we had to get rid of players to get this wage bill down still. We sold Aubameyang, we let players go like Callum Chambers, we sold players out on loan like Pablo Mari and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and we allowed Bellerin's and Torreira's and Guendouzi's still to stay out. So that meant that we were saving some money. When you look at what we have to sell, I did a show, funny enough, on Arsenal Lounge with the boys the other night. We sold 11 players. We made 40 measly £1 million out of those 11. So there's not going to be much for us to sell because we've got players like Bellerin still here. We've got players like the likes of the youngsters like the Baloguns and the Reece Nelsons of this world that we're trying to kind of loan for nothing. Pepe, 75 million, we'll probably be lucky to get 20, mate, if I'm being honest. So these type of players have all got big wages. Yeah, Lucas Torreira, we signed him for 26 million, probably be lucky to get 10, 15. Leno, looks like he's going to Fulham. They're not going to have more than 10 to 15 million to spend on a goalkeeper. So we're selling these players just to get rid of them and get rid of their wages. So we're kind of starting again. The good thing from what you hear is that's going to allow for more money for the Cronkies to release. So we're looking towards the 200 million mark this summer, apparently, as opposed to the 100 million to 150. So I'm being told it's about 200 million. We will see what happens with that, and we've always got a war chest. I've got no doubt that Arsenal will spend money. People make me laugh when they say Cronkies need to either spend or sell up. Cronkies have spent a lot of money, yeah? A lot. There's only Man City, Bayern Munich, PSG, and I think it's Chelsea that have spent more money than Arsenal.
Wow.
Right? Why are we eighth and fifth in the league if we're doing
How long
that?
is that? How long? How over what
I think
period?
they're talking the last. I think they're talking the last 3 years. I think it's the last 4 years, something like that. It was one of my mates had sent me the other day. Now, I might have got one of the teams wrong there. It might not have been Bayern Munich. It was definitely
But
Man
we get a
City,
gist. Yeah, we get
PSG,
the
and
gist of
Chelsea.
it.
But
Yeah.
you get what I'm
But you
getting at.
spend it, yeah,
We're
exactly.
trying to spend with those guys. We're not competing with those guys. So I do not understand why people say that Arsenal need to start spending money, because we've been doing it for a very, very long time. But look at what we spent it on. And this is what it comes back to with me, Grizz, is obviously this is why I don't trust this process, because they're giving a lot of money to novices who don't know what they're doing with it. And that's where it's gone wrong. So, yeah, I think we're looking at the £200 million mark, mate. So it's going to be very interesting with the names we're linked with of late as to who actually does come through the door, because I'm not going to lie to you, bro, there's not many of them that I'm hugely excited about.
All right, so let's try to break this down. 200 million, right, as a ballpark figure, right? After like sales and everything, right? Is that what we're saying, aren't we, Dan? Like
Yeah,
everything.
about that, roughly. Right, might be
Yeah,
180 or something like that, but
yeah,
roughly, yeah.
roughly. First and foremost, what's happening with Saliba? Give us your thoughts. What is going on with Saliba? Because very highly thought of centre back, had his personal rift with Arteta, gone out to Marseille,
Yep,
done very well by all accounts.
very, very well. Yeah.
What's the situation? It was a loan. What's the situation now with that?
So Guendouzi and Saliba both went to Marseille.
I beg your pardon, Guendouzi, so yeah.
Yeah, Guendouzi's staying there. I think it's done. I think we bought him for 8 million. Could have sold him for about 70 million at one stage to PSG, who were all over him. We've decided to sell him for 10 million to Marseille. Unbelievable when Liverpool can get rid of Ryan Brewster and Jordan Ibe and Dominic Solanke for 25 million. But there we go, that's another story. As for Saliba, it looks to me as if he's staying. Arteta does want to give him a chance. We bought him 3 years ago, believe it or not, when Unai Emery was here at St Etienne, £27 million. He had a partner that you'll know very, very well, a centre-back called Wesley Fofana, who was not sent on loan for 3 years, who came straight into Leicester's side, has been their best centre-back for the last 2 years. This guy's better, apparently. So when I see him get a brilliant call up at St Etienne, he's now in the French team along with Guendouzi, Young Player of the Year, Team of the Year, at Nice and now at Marseille. This is a player I need to see. Now the jury's still out with me on Ben White. I think he's a good centre-half. I think he's got potential to be very good. But a ball-playing centre-back for me that needs a little bit of experience, and I'm not so sure that he's quite ready yet. So I want to see Saliba, who's also very young and needs some experience, and to see who is better and let them compete for that place. So it looks to me as if Saliba is probably going to be coming back, and there's a lot of rumours that he might look against perhaps teams like yourself or City, that we might go with 3 at the back with Tomiyasu and Tierney either side, which for me sounds very defensive indeed with 5 at the back and quite maybe a strong unit on paper. So we'll see what happens with Saliba.
Saliba's a strange one, isn't it? Looking from the outside, like everyone would think, like you spent that much money on Ben White, you know, when you could have promoted within. You already had someone in place and used that, 50 million or something, was it, on Ben
Ridiculous.
White?
Yeah, 50 million.
You could have used it elsewhere on your team, namely fullbacks. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, because you have, I think, got a couple of good signings in there. So Tomiyasu was one, in my humble opinion. Tomiyasu, very solid, very professional, someone who you needed, because, Dan, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I'm just going to say it, because what's the point of fucking sitting on the fence, right? But Arsenal needed some, in my opinion, some hardcore footballing professionals that don't give a shit about social media, don't give a shit about
Facts.
talking and Instagram and Snapchats and all of this business. Bring back your club to the top. And in order to do that, you need some hard seasoned pros, which you haven't got enough of yet. But because Tomiyasu doesn't come under that, but he does seem like a guy who just gets on with his job. Tierney, another one who you can tell gets on with his job. He's got a mission. You need more of those. I think Odegaard was a good signing, according to me. Now, the players that you've been linked with. So let's start with up front. Gabriel Jesus is realistic. Someone had a question for you. Let's go through some of the questions, people. Look, Pixelate Pigeon, shout out to Pixelate Pigeon. He says, question for Dan. If Arsenal do bring in 4, 5, 6, do you want a mix of ages, or do you think the lack of experience in the squad is not an issue? Basically, exactly what I've literally just said. So what kind of players do you want to be focusing on? Sort of young players that Arteta, because look, let's not beat around the bush. He's not going anywhere. They're not going to sack him. They didn't sack him last season. They're not going to sack him at least until Christmas. And then they may assess where you're at Christmas. So taking that into consideration, what kind of players would you like to target? Because you've got to remember, you're not in Europe. Sorry, you're not in the Champions League, but you are in Europa League places. What kind of players would you personally try to be targeting? Someone with Premiership experience, or you're not too bothered about that?
Age doesn't matter to me, experience does. And what I mean by that is, if you're 25 years old like Tielemans is, people might think that you're young. Actually, you're quite experienced because you're a Belgium international, you're Premier League proven, and you're a baller at Leicester. Somebody like Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves, for me, has been Wolves' standout player for the last 2-3 seasons. 25 years old, probably not a huge upgrade on some of the players that we've got, but certainly an upgrade and would take us forward. Kieran Tierney, that come in, like you mentioned, has everything that I want to see a footballer have at Arsenal Football Club. He epitomises what we've lacking in the last few seasons: professionalism, standards that are raised, consistent, injury prone, unfortunately. But when I see that guy, he tells me everything that I want to see in an Arsenal game, in an Arsenal shirt, and I give him the captaincy tomorrow if it was me. So they're the type of players I want. All those players I've mentioned are under the age of 26. So it's not about going and signing 32-year-olds. We did that with Willian, we did that with Cech, we did that with David Luiz, has-beens. There's a difference with experience and age. I've got nothing wrong with somebody coming in with the right mentality at the age of 33, like Perisic has done at Spurs. I think that's actually a very good signing, because I think it's a now signing to win now. I didn't think the other players that we did were, because they were basically has-beens at Chelsea's and they just wanted to go into a retirement home. So for me, it's about experience, not age. So with 4 or 5 or 6 players coming in, I'm not being funny, that's realistic. We need more than that, and it's not going to happen, but we need more than that because we are that far behind. To clear out this many and not replace them, we're very, very thin, man, and this is going to be a huge summer for us.
I can sense it in your voice and speaking to you, off before we went live as well. I can sense the frustration already slowly building up, but it's natural. PA had a shout earlier on, and I starred it because I think that's a good shout, and I know you guys have been linked with him in the past. Alexander Isak would be interesting for Arsenal. Still raw, but Arsenal will have to be patient anyway. Thoughts on Alexander Isak?
Another good player I like. If I'm honest with you, hasn't had the best season over in La Liga, to be fair to him. But the last time that he did start banging in goals, there was a player behind him called Martin Odegaard playing for Real Sociedad on loan, and he scored 18 goals that season. So I'd like to see that link-up play. But I think he's got a release clause close to like 90 million euros, and I think they're trying to hold out for that. If that is the case, I can't see us going in for him. He's 21, so not experienced, but when I have seen him play for Sweden, he's the bright spark, and I do like some of his attributes. He's got pace and power. If it was between him and Tammy Abraham, I'd go for Tammy, but only because of the fact that he's on form at the moment. If I would have wound back 2 seasons, I would have had Isak, because he was absolutely killing it with Odegaard. So it'll be interesting to see if that does come to fruition. But I think we probably have missed that boat now, because I can see them holding out for all this money. So shit that.
I don't know, because if you've said, and he didn't have a greatest of seasons, I can't see anyone paying that figure now, because they had that figure when he was really like lighting it up with Sweden as well, and all eyes were on him, and he was doing really well, as you said. I think but I don't think, you haven't been linked with him as far as we've read or seen anywhere now. How about this one?
The thing is, I haven't heard of... Go on, man.
No, go on. You was going to say.
I was just going to say, I haven't heard us linked with any crazy players yet, so to speak. But you made a really good point about mentality and going on Insta and trying to get your club back and staying off of all the snaps and stuff. Because I always give this as an analogy and as an example. If you said to me, who's the better footballer, James Milner or Mesut Ozil, everybody would say Mesut Ozil, right? But if you talk about mentality, I'd take James Milner all day long. Yeah, Jordan Henderson is another one that I take from you guys, right? Because although they're technically nowhere near as good, and they're probably not going to give you the output. I mean, in the latter days, I was never a massive Özil lover anyway because of his head. But actually, when you look at him on the pitch when he was on fire, he was beautiful to watch at times. But when I look at Henderson and Milner, they're the types of players Arsenal need right now, in my opinion. Not the amazing quality that's going to take it round everyone, because we've got the ballers like Sakas and Smith Rowe and Martinellis. We've got them. But they need experienced heads around them and mentality that is not the Granit Xhakas and Lacazettes of this world. They don't want Bellerins next to them saying that Alexis Sanchez, he had to leave Arsenal because he just wanted to win too much. Get out of my club. I don't want that mentality. I want winners. I want leaders. And the mentality for me has always been at Arsenal that you're a bit soft, a bit of a soft touch. Now, if I was to give Arteta any credit, I actually think he's tried to remove that culture, and he has brought in some players that are warriors, and he has brought in some players that have a little bit of bite, like the Kieran Tierney's, the Gabriels, the Parties of this world. But actually, we need a little bit more of that. So that for me, I think was spot on that you said earlier, mate, in terms of mentality.
Look, people, football fans on social media just don't sometimes understand how important creating a footballing culture at a club is. All they want to know is the players that got the techers, people that can dribble, flashy, do the skills, look good. It's not about that, man. And Liverpool and Man City are prime examples of that. Having players like your Rodri, your Fernandinhos is so crucial. Having players like, Laporte, look at the difference Laporte and Diaz have made to a thing, just solid, hard, nothing flash about them, nothing extravagant. You won't hear about them on social media. Same with us, Henderson, Milner. Someone actually mentioned a good player here's a shout, man. Dan, what do you think about Wijnaldum?
100%. I said this in January. Go and get him. Go and get him on loan from PSG. Go and get him. Premier League proven, one of the most underrated players I've ever seen, particularly in Liverpool, but just in general. I thought the guy was ridiculously good. I think he's a baller. His work rate's great. Very underrated. And I would have taken him. He's won stuff. He's a leader.
He'd still do 2 years at your club.
31 is he?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
31.
I'll take him tomorrow, mate. Take him tomorrow. Great shout. I see the one about Richarlison. I wouldn't take him. Yes, he's good enough. There's something wrong with him up there, man. I'll tell you this now.
And you just don't need that.
I do not need that in my club. I've had enough of that over the years.
I'm trying to think of the guys that you've been linked with and anything sort of that would sort of tick the boxes that we've spoken about now.
Well, listen, we've been linked. We've been linked with Tielemans. I would take that. We've been linked with Gabriel Jesus. I would take that. I like the links with Rafinha.
Tielemans. Let's have a little chat about Tielemans. So Yuri Tielemans, I think you'd probably get for a very good price, around the 30 million mark, I'd say. Give or take 5 million here or there. Attacking midfielder, you'd say, can play deep, bit of a playmaker as well.
Yeah, he can do a little bit of everything. To be fair,
he can play. Yeah. The one thing I've got my reservations, because we were linked with him as well. We liked him a few windows ago, but we didn't go for it. The one thing that I've always noticed about him, Dan, is he's always seems like he's run out of breath about 70 minutes. To me, he doesn't seem the most... I don't know, man, if he's got the energy and the intensity to play in a Jurgen Klopp for 90 minutes. I don't know. Would that be worrying for you? Because it is something that you definitely need. And especially the way Arteta plays, he's definitely looking for energetic, high intense players now, right? Does Tielemans, you think, cover that, get into that category?
I think it's a really good point, and I think it's a fair point. What I will say about Tielemans, and it's something that I never really noticed until this season. I had a feeling, he was going to go. Whatever, this season. So I watched him and James Maddison very, very highly, but a lot because we were linked with both of them in the summer. We were linked with Maddison. We ended up getting Ødegaard, and we've been linked with Tielemans before. By the way, I love James Maddison. I would have him tomorrow, but he's going to cost a lot of money. I think the guy is really good, really like him. But when I look at what Tielemans can do on the ball, he's actually a lot more defensive than I ever gave him credit for until I started watching him this season. I always thought he was one of those players that just linked up play and was always the one in front of goal that would have a go and would be more of a instrumental midfielder in terms of the forward part of the pitch. He does a lot of defensive work that goes unnoticed, and I've got a lot of time for that. And I think that is why Grizz, he is more worn out towards the 75th minute mark, because he's doing a hell of a lot of running. And I never noticed it before until I started watching him.
Fair
And
point.
I actually quite like Leicester. I think they're a very, very well-run club. I think that it was very, very harsh to be calling for Brendan Rodgers' head when he had 9 of his first team pretty much players out. So when they now all of a sudden got their players back, they actually finished above Wolves, Brighton, all these teams that people were saying were brilliant that season. So fair play to them, because when they've got their first 11, they're a threat. As for Tielemans at Arsenal, I think what we'll see is an upgrade on Granit Xhaka, finally. Because Thomas Partey is our holder, we know that, when he's fit. Ødegaard is our right number 8, and we need a left number 8, and I think that's what Tielemans will be for Arsenal, and I think he can do it. So that for me would be a very good signing, and the 25 to 30 million pound mark I think is a good price for a player of that quality.
I'm sorry to bring this up now. This is the part where you're gonna really hate me. I'm gonna bring up Yves Bissouma, that has just gone to your fiercest rivals, Tottenham Hotspur, on the verge of capturing Yves Bissouma for the paltry figure of 25 to 30 million. So not this January, but last January, we made a very firm inquiry for Yves Bissouma. And we were told by his agent, his reps told us, that thank you for the offer and he will consider it, but Arsenal are coming in for him and he prefers to go to Arsenal as his favourite club, whatever. He's a fan of Arsenal. We said, no problem, thank you very much. We move on. We don't get held to ransom by anyone. As we know, Liverpool don't work like that. We never looked back. We never went back in for him. Neither did you. He stayed at Brighton for another season. That was 40, 50 million. He stayed at Brighton another season. We won't discuss, because we don't know the ins and outs of his personal case issues, whatever going on, legal reasons, right? Whatever. Let's put that to a side. I know you can't just put it to the side, but let's just assume he gets cleared of that, right? What do you think about the player? How do you feel your club haven't gone in for him? And how do you feel that your fiercest rivals are ending up with him?
So, what do I think of the player? For the last 2 years, he's been one of my number 1 targets in midfield. And I did my show last night with Toby, unfortunately, and Matisse and Big Steve. And they all said he would have fitted all the attributes that Arsenal need in the midfield. And I would have had him over Tielemans. And although we need a Xhaka upgrade, and perhaps Bissouma is a Thomas Partey type that anchors the midfield, Thomas Partey's injured quite a lot. And I think with Bissouma and Partey in there, you've got a double pivot if you want it. That would be an absolute monster of a midfield. The guy's attributes for me, some people think his ball playing is not great. I disagree. From what I've seen, I think it's decent. He dominates teams that I think personally are very, very good footballing sides. He always turns up against big teams. He did it against Arsenal. He's done it against you guys. He did it against Tottenham. He's done it all over. And for the last 2 or 3 years, not just for this season. So for me, it's a player I wanted. Now, the reason I said Arsenal wouldn't get him is because I thought he'd be going for between about 40 to 45 million. I didn't know he had 1 year left on his contract, and he's now going for 25 million. Now, I'll be amazed if Tottenham haven't had some sort of insurance cover chat stroke something around what might happen if things do go wrong for him. But from what I'm hearing, Grizz, everything's been sorted now anyway with his personal life. But that's the only reason I can think that Mikel Arteta doesn't want to get involved in this guy, because he seems to, for whatever reason, perhaps that he's a bad man. That's the only thing I can think as to reasons why we haven't gone in for him, because footballing ability-wise, he's just what we need. A hard man in midfield that's horrible to play against, that's the closest I've seen to a Patrick Vieira figure type, nowhere near as good, but albeit, that we need in midfield. Now, Thomas Partey is not a Vieira. A lot of people think he is. In my opinion, he's more of a Gilberto. He sits and anchors the midfield, and he tries to pull the strings. Bissouma is a horrible player, mate. Horrible. And that would have been fantastic. But guess what? He's gone to Spurs, and that's why Arsenal fans are livid. Because he's gone to upgrade their midfield, albeit not very difficult when you've got Harry Winks, Oliver Skip, and Højbjerg in it. But you know what? When you're playing him alongside Bentancur under Conte, that'll be a horrible midfield next season. And for me, Conte is doing exactly what I knew Conte was doing. And that's why I laughed when all Arsenal fans were telling me it's hilarious he's gone there, they're desperate. They don't look so desperate to me at the moment. They look like a team that are going places and a manager that's doing bits while we're stuck in the mud. So when Antonio Conte starts buying players like that, that gets Arsenal fans worried, and so they should be, because for me, Liverpool and City are walking the first two places, and I'm putting Tottenham in third ahead of Chelsea, in my opinion, at the moment, because what they're doing, I think, is just what needs to happen to take them to the top. And I think that when you look at what Arsenal have missed out on, Bissouma and Tielemans for £50 million, what a steal that would have been, man. What a steal.
I I had to ask you and I had to discuss that, and I'll take a sip of your drink, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to bring that up because I'm astounded and shocked and bemused, and I'm not even an Arsenal fan, that how the fuck do you lot see that he's exactly how you've described him. I love Bissouma as a player, right? Because people have been having a go at me and saying, why do you keep bigging him up? Look, I don't know what he's done or what he's not done. It's all, you know what I mean, alleged. So let the authorities deal with that, whatnot. I'm talking about as a footballer. My God, Dan, I think he gets into every single team, you know, and they're pretty much in the top 6.
Mm-hmm.
At least in our squads anyway. Do you know what I mean? I'd take him in a heartbeat. And he's so ideal for you guys. Combative,
Arsenal
physical.
fan as well. Arsenal fan.
Yeah, but all the attributes that you lot get accused of, no fight, being bullied. Do you know what I mean? He would fucking stop that. Him and Partey as a team, as a partnership, would have been so good. And you're right. I think Conte and Spurs, as a result, not just because of this signing, but as a result of signing him and add to the Kulusevski and the Romero, and they're looking for another left centre back to take place of the Davis. They're going for a striker. Richarlison's been linked. We know he's going to bring in, or even Gabriel Jesus has been linked with him.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with you. I think they're nailed on for third. I hate to say it. Oh, okay, Chelsea on them, but I think Chelsea have got a tough task on their jobs.
Got a lot to
Pretty
do,
much
man.
like you guys, they've got a lot to do. I feel for you guys how you've not captured them there. Look, I don't want to take the piss, right? But you have actually made a signing, haven't you? Look, let me just get this up on the screen. Look, it's not ideal, but what we do know is you have signed Marquinhos from Sao Paulo. Now, I don't expect you to know a 19-year-old Brazilian coming from Sao Paulo, but I'm guessing this is just to move him on. It's like a youth project as opposed to for the first team. Or am I wrong?
I don't know is the honest truth, mate, and it wouldn't surprise me if he comes in and is part of the squad. And the reason I say that is because we've got Edu over in Brazil who's doing what he's done with Martinelli. Some of them he's got dreadfully wrong, like the Willian deal was just poor for me. But I think that was probably the previous regime, the Raul Sanllehi time. And this to me sounds like he's going to be a squad player to probably replace Pepe. I don't think he's going to be like a starter, but I think he will be in and around the squad if he's good enough. Listen, they're talking about links with Martinelli. It took us 3 years to see Martinelli, so this kid we're not going to see much of, in my opinion. I think it will be a signing that we've had enough of. I've had enough of 19-year-olds. I need to see some experience now, and the players that we're linked with, that are the Jesuses and the Tielemans, fill me with a lot more exciting than Marquinhos. I've got nothing wrong with it. I don't want to start slating kids I've never heard of or seen, but I've heard and seen this enough now. I've seen the Martinellis. We've brought through the Sakas and Smith Rowes, even Erdegaard and Eddie Nketiah and Balogun and Pitino and Lokonga and Tavares, all these young kids. This one doesn't fill me with an amazing amount of excitement, but I'm, of course, always happy to be proven wrong and see what this kid's all about, because they've signed him for a reason. I hear we could have got him on a free. We've decided to pay $3 million for whatever reason, so that we can have a good relationship with the club, or a continued good relationship with the club. That to me says that we're going to be trying to sign a lot more of these Marquinhos over the next couple of seasons, should they do an Arteta stay.
Yeah, look, I tried to cheer you up with a signing, man. You know, it turns out it's an unknown 19-year-old from Sao Paulo. What more can we do? Look, all we can say is very early in the window, as you said. A bit of patience and perspective needed for now. It's the most hardest thing to stay calm in these situations, especially when your fiercest rivals over the road are doing everything that you needed to do, have got the
Yep.
coach that you needed to bring in. You know, it can drive a sane man insane, and you're one of the sanest people I know. So, you know, I mean, I can imagine that you're already insane. What's
Oh,
happening to
bro.
them, right? And we can name a lot of insane Arsenal people on the
Man,
circuit.
I know a lot of them, man. I have to bloody share platforms with half of them, and I'm very Marmite, I think, in the fan base when it comes to the situation at Arsenal, because I just say it how it is, and people don't like to hear it, mate. It's such a bitter pill for them to swallow, and I've tried to allow this guy to prove me wrong. I've tried to allow the Cronkies to allow me to be excited, like Josh Kroenke said 2 years ago. I'm not excited, Grizz. I'm not looking forward to the season. I don't look at our squad and think it's good enough for where I want to be anyway. If you want to get in the top six again and have a go at that, yeah, we're probably good enough for that. I don't want to be in the Europa League, bro. I was told that we're going to the Emirates to compete with the very best. And unfortunately, like I said to you the other day on my show, we can't. We got our B's wrong, because it ain't Bayern Munich and Barcelona we're competing with. It's Brighton and Bournemouth and Burnley and teams like that. Because that's what we're doing at the moment. We're competing with teams like that when we go head to head with them. So God knows what's going to happen when we do compete head to head with the likes of Bayern Munich and Barcelona. I can only dream of that at the moment. And do you know what I'll say lastly, mate? I remember me and my dad. I'm a season ticket holder, and I remember me and my dad going on a Tuesday night one time, freezing cold weather, Tuesday night football, Champions League football. It's actually more than 6 years ago now, believe it or not. I remember going there saying to my dad, "Should we go tonight, man? It's freezing cold. We're playing Shakhtar Donetsk. Shall we just not? Should we just not go? Like, I live in Essex, so it's like an hour there drive, mate. I feel so bad that I ever decided to even think about leaving Champions League football on a Tuesday night, because you never know when it's going to happen again. And like you, it took you 30 years to win that title. It's taken me 18 to get anywhere near winning a title. I remember going unbeaten, which, believe it or not, was what we did the last time we won a title, saying to my best mate, we've got an unbelievable team here. We're going to be incredible for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah,
And
sometimes
18 years later, I'm still waiting, bro.
you know what? Sometimes we, as fans, even we take things for granted. Silly little bots coming into the chat now. Don't let them spoil the chat. There's over 500 of you here, but the likes ratio is quite poor. I don't know, like, what's up with you guys today? Hit a like. It only takes a second and it's free. Come on, you know what to do. Look, as you said, it's early. We stick in there, and hopefully, look, you will get a few players in. But
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be, and I do think third and I do think fourth is really up for grabs, this season. I just don't make you guys sort of the favourites. I think Man United have to get better, but again, they've got a lot to do, Dan. They've got a lot to do.
Massive job.
They've got a lot of players going out. Pogba, I guess that's one of the news today, of Pogba going to Juventus, on the verge of signing with Juventus. That's been a horrible, horrible signing as well, Dan.
The only team that can get rid of him for free twice.
That's ridiculous, Dan,
It's
isn't it?
just such a banter club.
I mean,
I
it
hate
is.
Man United. It's embarrassing.
No, you're in the right place, mate, for that. People will tell you in the
Of
chat,
course.
you're in the right place for that. But that is fucking abysmal, isn't it? Like Pogba, the Pogba transfer and the just circus around him is ridiculous. It's embarrassing how they've handled that, and now he's walking away again for free.
No,
It's
it
pretty.
is madness. But you're right about the top four thing, and the reason I don't think we'll get top four is because, not that I don't think the team's good enough, it's because I don't think we've got the right people at the top and the right people in charge. And that's why. It's nothing other than, if we had Conte, I'd say we had a great chance against top four. If we had Simeone, great chance against top four. Hell, if we had Mancini, great chance against top four for me. But when I look at the management, the director of football, the chief exec, who I'd love to know what he does, Vinay Venkatesham, no one can tell me. He's trying to get a Europa Super League from what do they call it, the European Super League thing. That's what he's trying to do. And then you've got the Cronkies, who are just spending money on the Rams and looking at Arsenal as they're like peasants, saying, you know what, yeah, fair play, we'll go and spend 200 billion over here and 200 million over there, when actually we're the ones that need billions, not millions being spent, because we're in a mess. So I don't have much faith in the season, bro. And unfortunately, mate, I'm coming for the Cronkies now. I've had enough of Arteta. He showed me what he is. It ain't quite good enough, but we're still sticking with him. So the decision has been made by Stan Kroenke, not by Mikel Arteta. So as a fan base, in my opinion, I think we should be demanding more. But I'm fairly alone with that. There's a lot of people think that top six is a great season and we're progressing and it's really great to see young players. And I've seen this all before. I saw it with Wilshere and Ramsey, and they both left. I saw it with Fabregas and Van Persie. They both left. We need to win something at the top. Otherwise, Saka and Smith Rowe are going to go and play for Newcastle, Man City, or Liverpool. And that's the way I honestly see it, bro.
No, I mean, look, that's the way these stories end, right? That's the way football works. You know, your best talents realize that they can't fulfill their footballing needs, desires, ambitions, and they have to move elsewhere. And obviously, look, we'll speak about the Saka situation on another time, because that is something that, you know, you will have to keep an eye on. But I think we've covered near enough everything, man. Your state of play, your state of mind, the way your club's looking, the targets that you're looking at, or kind of sort of positions that you need. Anything else, guys, in the chat that you want to ask us before we try to wrap it up in terms of what's happening in the footballing world? Can I get your quick opinion on Darwin Nunez? I know you mentioned him. You liked him. What do you think about his move to Liverpool? We always like to get an outsider's opinion.
Sure. The reason I wanted him is because I think he's got attributes that I think would be suited to the Premier League, and a lot of people said that he wouldn't be, and it's a risk, and he's going to be playing in a Farmers League. Coming over here is different. Of course, every signing's a risk, man. Just ask Chelsea with Timo Werner. He was banging in goals over in Bundesliga, and he scored 10 in 2 seasons with Chelsea now. So I look at that and think, of course, it could be a huge, huge risk. But I look at everything about this player and think that he's suited to the Premier League. Why? Because he's strong, because he's got the target man. He's the proper all-round number 9. This is why I wanted him. He scored goals against, if correct me if I'm wrong, Premier League sides in the Champions League. So that means he's going to come up against those same players and probably score goals against them. He is going to be a handful, mate. And I personally feel like the Liverpool accountants, as I call them, and listen, I've got nothing against Liverpool. You know I respect Liverpool as a club and everything I want to be in a football club. But some of your fans make me laugh because they're coming around saying, oh, don't have a go at us for spending 80 million Darwin Nunez when we're going to sell players and actually it will only cost us 40 million. Who cares? Who's an accountant nowadays? Who gives a damn? Be a big club. Go and spend some money. Because Liverpool have been notorious for not doing that. Liverpool have done well with their transfer business. Liverpool have bought Mane and Salah for a combined £70 million. We bought Mustafi and Xhaka for that, bruv. So let's look at the difference in quality for a moment and just say, fair play to Liverpool. Go and spend some money. If that's who you want, you're going to have to go and put the money up. It ain't like the old days where you just try and get someone for a £20 million and turn him into a monster sometimes. Doesn't always work like that. So for me, I think it's a good signing, and I like your squad, mate. I can't lie. I think you've got strength in depth. I think you've got an amazing amount of backup now, and I don't feel that there's anybody in the Liverpool setup, and I mean this squad-wise, not just first 11, that I look at as a huge weak link anymore. And I used to. When I see Origi's and Minaminos coming on, I used to think we can target them. I'm not so sure we can now. You've got Diaz and Jota bringing on. Now you're going to have Darwin Nunez, Firmino, Salah. That's going to be tough, man. I look at that midfield and I think Oxlade-Chamberlain can't get a kick, and he was one of our better players at one stage. So you've got a great squad, man. I've got a lot of respect for what you've done. I love what Jurgen Klopp's done. I think it's criminal that we didn't at least try and get him when when Wenger won against Hull in 2014. I wanted him. Pep Guardiola and Klopp were both available. We chose to give Wenger a new contract. And when Arteta's been about, we've allowed not only Pep and Klopp to walk past us, but also Tuchel and Antonio Conte. And I would only put Simeone in that bracket. They're my top 5 elite managers. So we've allowed 4 of the top 5 elite managers to walk past us. And we're now stuck with someone still learning on the job. And what I'll do, Grizz, just lastly, because you know I'm not a huge fan of Arteta. Who's the number 2 at Man City at the moment? I don't know who it is, but he must clearly be getting a massive job soon, because he's had 2.5 years under Pep like Mikel did. So he must be getting a wicked job. He must be going to PSG to replace Poch or something.
Guys in the chat, my Liverpool people in the chat will confirm. But Pep's number 2 is the ex-Liverpool coach. Guys, hit me with his name. Rodolfo
Is he the
Borrell?
bald guy? Yeah, bald guy.
Yeah, people confirm in the chat. I've always got knowledgeable people in the chat that correct me. Rodolfo Borrell, there you go. Look, there you go.
Yes, that's him. Rodolfo. Yeah. Well played, man. Well played, guys.
Listen, this has been a fantastic little catch up with you, Dan. Hope you guys have enjoyed the chat that we've had. Dan, again, there's over 550 people, or 40 people in here. let them know where they can find you, because they all need to go over and give you a subscribe right now as well.
Well, listen, I appreciate you as always, man. You know there's love for the love. And everyone in the chat, I've been getting some really nice comments, man, in the chat. So thank you for that.
But
Much
they know I
appreciated.
only bring serious people on here.
Yeah, you know,
I
man.
only bring on real football people. They know they've enjoyed the chat. No trash talk, proper football play people.
Nah, listen, I've loved it, man, and it's been a pleasure. But if you'd like to come and follow myself on socials, it's at DanArsenal87. And then on my new channel, it's Football's 12th Man podcast on YouTube. If you could come over and hit a subscribe, I'd love you to join us on the journey to 2K. Literally been a couple of weeks I've started up, so I'm humbled to get that much. So thank you so much, man. And I love your channel, Grizz. Love what you're doing, bro. A lot of time for you, and love to see you doing so well. And so many people interacting in the chat, man. It's great.
Bro, this is on slow mode. I have to keep these people on slow mode, otherwise they go mad in here, man. I love the community we've built up. Over 500 of you in here, but the likes ratio is a bit poor today. I don't know. It's a bit stinky. Are you lot tired? What's the matter? You having a dinner? What's going on? I don't know. You just woke up maybe somewhere in a different part of the world. You know what I mean? So do your business, man. Hit a like, hit a click. I will be back. I'm just gonna go off now, have a little bite to eat, and then we're gonna come back for it's Wednesday night, people. It's the tic tac transfer show. We'll be back with what a panel I've got tonight. Oh, Dan Club's in the building, Evans in the building, and Steve Plunkett's in the building. So, guys, 8:30. Go and do what you guys do. Have a little bite to it, like I am. Haven't had dinner, people. But there you go. That's what I'm saying. We're having a dinner as well. So let's all go and have
Likewise.
a bit to eat. Well, there you go. Let's all have a bite to eat, and then we talk transfers. We talk rumours, we talk Liverpool, ins, outs, all of that good stuff, what you lot like. I will put the link in the description. 100% I will, my friend. Thank you very much for reminding me. Dan, this has been the Daily Grizz. Again, thank you very much to Dan. I'm going to try to hit an outro. No, fuck the outro. We're going to be out of here and say good night. Take care.